Alright. Welcome back, my fellow console scrubs. We're going to go over the build and what we're doing. We've already done a video like this at the beginning of the league, but as you know, I scuffed my first character, and we rolled a Chieftain because I have fire gear, and I wanted to bring back the character that was actually going to get me my 4 Void Stones. So, we're basically doing a Righteous Fire Trap setup, but it's a little bit different. We are running a Chieftain, as you see. We are taking the Splode node. The Splode node, for those who don't know, is Hinakora's Death's Fury. Enemies you kill have a 5% chance to explode, dealing 500% of their life as, or 500% of their maximum life as fire damage. Now, if you played last league and you knew about the Splody totems, it feels similar to that as far as like just instant deleting things. So if you proc that with pack size and more monsters, it happens quite often. It's not exactly terrible. It looked terrible at first when we were first reading the patch notes and all that stuff, but I assure you, this really kills. This is basically a build that's based off of DS Lily's No BS build Chieftain that does a self-reflect explode Chieftain. That's a little bit more high-tech, and we will eventually work towards that. I looked it up, and I'm basically going to have to self-farm the weapon. It's called a Fulcrum. It's an Ezomite staff, I believe. It'll reflect, ignites that you inflict will reflect back to you, and so then you pair that with a cluster jewel as the node will fan the flames, and that's how she's able to take that 500% of their maximum life as fire damage and proliferate that ignite to all the other enemies, in turn causing a massive explosion, just wiping out whole packs. Now, it's still popping, obviously, and you level with RF, and you're still going to run RF, just because that's the way, you know, it's going to work. It's buffing all your other spells as well, so it's super nice. You probably, I don't know if you, when you full transition, you'll probably drop out the fire trap, because your big booms are going to do enough damage. And then what she does to counteract the single target is she runs a Ball Breach, and for those who don't know, that's some pretty good tech. Let's say you're in a boss fight that's you know, let's say you're doing Eater Worlds. It's just one creature inside that arena, so you don't have the best chance to get that 5% chance to explode. So we're talking small percentage chance here, so we need monsters. So you pop your Vol Breach, a breach will spawn, and then the monsters will rush you. It's actually pretty good tech. Don't have a way to show you that, but if you wanted to look it up, just search Vol Breach and look that gem up. It's pretty nice. But yes, anyway, so with Hinakora's Death's Fury, we take the Tasala Cleansing Water, obviously, and Storm Embrace, so that we can get our resistances squared away. This is probably the best tech for new players, newcomers to the game, console scrubs such as myself. The name of the game is to make it easier for you. You don't want to do these big brain 9,000 button pushes, too many skills on your controller. Like when I play, and especially with the controller setup, I mean, even if this wasn't a console setup, you would still have around 4 main buttons you push. You got your auras on another set, you know what I mean? You got your, you know, whatever, totems or curses or something on another set, that's fine. But eventually you just want to consolidate everything down into the fewest amount of buttons possible, and this is probably one of the best builds for it. Talos Cleansing Water is going to allow the resistance to apply to all other resistances at 50% of their value, which is pretty nice, because what we're going to do is we're going to stack as much fire resistance as possible. Any other Chieftain guide will tell you the same thing. And then you take Velocco's Storm Embrace, so that your maximum fire resistance also applies to all other resistances as well. That with this bad boy right here, which is a Fire Mastery notable, and it says, it's not the one I'm hovered over, but if you can see the grayed out one above it on the very bottom, it says regenerate 1 life per second for each 1% uncapped fire resistance. So let's go over to our character. My fire resistance, I've had this pretty high. I've had it up to about 250 with this character, but I've just been tweaking gear and around trying to get myself comfortable to run high-end content and see where I'm at. I was in 89 all res, and I had my fire resistance up to around 250. So anything past 84 is basically points of. As you see, my life regen per second keeps fluxing between 885 and 1700, something like that. I was getting it up to around 1200 while I was just chilling, and then it like boosts up to around 2500. The reason why is because I take this node right here, Surge of Vigor. So every 4 seconds regenerate 15% of life over 1 second. This is incredibly valuable, especially early game. I was running Righteous Fire with the Chieftain since end of Act 2, beginning of Act 3, I want to say, or around there, like 26, whatever that is, that's Act 3. Yeah, so around Act 3, I think I was rocking the Righteous Fire. It was a little scuffed because, you know, you got to have a lot of regen for it, but the Surge of Vigor, and I hadn't even ascended. I was just running that with, what is that one shield at? Just let me, for the sake of my brain having an aneurysm. What's it called? Springleaf. So that node with the Fire Mastery, which you probably want to get early on as well, because if you can get more fire resistance, but it's not necessary in the very early game. But just like that regen node, and starting with a lot of regen plus the Springleaf, you should be able to sustain your RF before you even ascend. I think I actually did the first lab with RF. May or may not have. I'm not quite sure. But I was able to sustain it, though, with this Springleaf. I probably was at about half life, because if you see at the very bottom here, it says regenerate 100 life per second while on low life. So what would happen is, like, early on, while I was running Righteous Fire before Ascension, is it would just drop down to, like, my life pool would drop to half, and then it would just start jetting up or whatever real quick. So, anyway, that's the setup, more or less, and you're just doing a Righteous Fire build, and that's all you're really doing, because when you do transition to the Self-Reflect Ignite, you're basically only running Righteous Fire. Speaking of which, what we're doing is a little bit of some cheese stuff here. We got our Righteous Fire in the Vol Caress. The Vol Caress is going to give you +5 to the level of socketed Vol Gems, so I literally just took a bunch of Righteous Fires. I probably bought like 8 from the vendor, and I just corrupted them, just willy-nilly. I got like 2, and I leveled them both, because sometimes they don't go all the way up to 20. This one did. And so you can see we have a level 27 Righteous Fire. We get 5 levels from the gloves themselves, and then we get +2 from our amulet and our weapon. Now we're pairing that with Efficacy, Anomalous, Elemental Focus. This wasn't too cheap, but it's not too expensive. I think I got it for around 100 to 200 chaos for a 2020. I think it was around like 100, 120. That sounds about right. The reason you go for the Anomalous is just for the increased area of effect. It's not necessary. I just want my ring of fire to be bigger because I'm a visual person. Burning damage support, obviously, because we are Righteous Fires. Link on the Vol Caress. And the Determination, Infernal Cry, and then we have our Vitality on with our Wave of Conviction, and we're also running Malevolence. Those are our aura setups. The reason we want to put Vitality on an Arrogance is solely just to get the +1 to all resistances if you have life and mana reserved. So if you see there on the grayed out, Reservation Mastery +1 to all elemental resistances if you have life and mana reserved. So we're kind of stacking on both of those fronts. There's another one which is a hybrid armor and energy shield right here that says wait, is it armor energy shield? No, it's the armor. Wait, it is the armor energy shield. Has to be. Anyway, there's another one that gives you elemental resistance. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm mistaken. I'm just going off of memory now, and I'm starting to have a brain aneurysm, but we'll touch back on that later times. But there is another mastery out there that will give you another percentage, and then you take the wheel down here for max fire res, or max all elemental, and then the maximum fire res down here, and then obviously you take the fire one that's up here in the Marauder tree, Barbarism. So that's how we're getting up to 84. This would be 85 if I could get my Purity of Fire, where is it at? Sorry, it's in the Dawnbreaker. If I can get my Purity of Fire to level 21, that would put it at a total of 23, and that would be at 85 max res. With the other shield that you run, the Righteous Fire shield, I can't remember, Rise of Phoenix, I was at 89 max res, but I need more defense because we have nothing. We're running a Tabula Rasa. I bought a couple of Tabula Rasas when I started leveling this character. I really did go for +2 socketed Trapper Mine gems. It was just on sale, and it was for sale, and it was really cheap. So I think it was around 10-20C. I snagged this, and then I snagged like a regular one because I wanted to mess around with other setups. So that's why in the last video you saw me on a Blazing Salvo setup, because I just was testing other gems. I was testing poison with fire, you know, all sorts of things I like to play around with. And then we're probably going to replace the Eye of Malice because we do take the ascendancy points that put monsters at -20 while we're stationary, and we're throwing traps, we're stationary, so we're going to kind of abuse that. So we're not going to run the Eye of Malice, but this is a great item to get your resistances into the negatives when you're doing big bossing and stuff like that. I'm going to test with it. I'm going to see if it feels better running it or running with something else. But for right now, we're just keeping it on, so because we're mapping and we want to be able to have as much negative resistance as possible. For those that don't know, the most important thing on the very bottom tag: our enemies have 50% increased fire and cold resistances. That also counts for negative resistances as well. The only other link that we have set up for this is our shield charge. It's on a life tap. Everything's on a life tap for the most part. And then finally, our boss, big boy damage, and that is going to be our fire trap. Since we're running a +2 to trap and mine gems, Tabula Rasa, we're getting 25 total. If I can get a better amulet, this would be at a 26, and if I could run a better secondary once I get out of Dawnbreaker, or I don't know. But you can get this up to around 27, and then running it in Power, things like that, you can get your gems up pretty high. And that's, for those who don't know, those new console scrubs in this game, is gem levels is the name of the game when it comes to specifically like spell gems. At the top of every skill gem you see, you're going to have tags. At the very top of Fire Trap, you see it's trap, comma, spell, comma, duration, comma, AoE, comma, fire. So anything that has those tags, like increased trap damage, or more trap damage, more spell damage, more duration, more AoE, more fire, that will affect Fire Trap. So with things that have the spell tag in it, they typically tend to do very well off of gem levels, which is why we are running the Righteous Fire and the Valkyries, so we can get that pumped up as much as possible. And the higher the gem level goes, the more the baseline damage is for that gem, and then add on top of all of the multipliers and the increases that you're adding on top of it through the skill tree and other gear, it just means more damage at the end of the day. And then last but not least, we're running a Legacy of Fury. We'll probably move out of these because we're running Dawnbreaker, but I don't know. They seem to be really okay. I just want more life. I don't have any life. No life rolls on anything really. I do have 70 on the gloves, but there's really not a whole lot of life. I'm running mostly uniques. The Pyre Ring as well. I don't really need this anymore, but it's giving me 92 burning damage, so I'm just trying to stack as much damage as possible. I am a little squishy for a Chieftain, but this could be very easily solved. It's just, first thing I want to impress is this is not the best gear at all, but this is gear that you can slap together yourself relatively easily. The Stygian Vice just kind of slapped it into the Harvest Crafter and crafted Reforged Chaos, and I got some Chaos Res and that. As far as my jewel inside there, we're just getting phasing for 4 seconds on kill, so I can free up a flask slot to run a Bath Salt, because this is my defenses. It's a Bath Salt flask, a Granite flask, the Ruby flask, and a Quicksilver. So we're leaning really hard on these flasks, and you know, we don't have a lot of room anywhere else for damage mitigation. So we're at about 20,000 with everything up. So if you see over here on the stats on my right side of the screen, underneath strength, the armor is at 11,649. You want to be around 20k when you do it. So we're at 24k. That's decent. That's enough. That's 80% damage reduction. We're getting a little bit of fizz as with the Dawnbreaker, which is why this thing, but we want to be wearing our Cloak of Flames. This is what I'm going to be wearing endgame. Like, oh, not endgame, but you know, final. This is my best in slot, and this is not the best in slot. Corrupt, double corrupt, but you know, for what it is, you know, this is what I got. So I'll probably, I think I have another one that I can mess with myself and just try to get a 6-link. I bricked, like, it was a 5-link. I failed my Tainted Fusing, and then I brought it back up to a 5-link, and then I failed the Tainted Fusing, and then I think I did one more rotation, and then we're here again. So we're going to get a couple more Tainted, farm up, and do this. Or, I don't know, I might just 6-link a non-corrupted one just to get it going, because this chess piece is fun. Don't get me wrong, it does a lot of damage, but it's not worth it at the end of the day. And once we get everything sorted, we won't really need it. But this just so happens to be best for right now, because I do have a 2120 fire trap, and it's just doing so much damage. Before we move on, let's just go through the gems here on the fire trap. We're running a Combustion. Combustion is a no-brainer. It's a more multiplier, and it gives -10 to the fire resistance. Swift Affliction is the next one. That's another no-brainer. It's just more damage multiplier. We're doing damage over time, burning, and there's an ignite portion as well to the fire trap. So the burning is damage over time, and the actual ignite itself is also damage over time. So this is a no-brainer. More multipliers are what you want on your damage dealers when it comes to support gems. Trap and mine damage, same deal. 51% more trap and mine damage. More multipliers. That's what I want to impress upon new cats. Damage. You see a trending pattern here. 33% more burning damage. More is the key word here. More, more, more. We want more. Say it out loud. Chant it, chant it, chant it. And then we're running the life tap, which actually is a more damage multiplier, because you can get up to 20 with a 2120, or with a 21 gem. You can get 20% more damage while you have life tap. So we run a life tap on a level 1 shield charge, so we always have the life tap buff. And then on our damage dealer, we run a max level life tap. That's hopefully a 2120, because the quality is just going to give you increased damage. So you always want your stuff qualitied, but you know, I am just slapping stuff together, and this is a quick build. We're only level 90. The name of the game here is to get ourselves leveled up, and get a few more levels, and do the do. Now look how easy that 10C sale was. Jealous, PC? Just kidding. So let's do the build showcase now. We're gonna run this chateau map that is influenced by the Elder, and it's occupied by the Enslaver. So we are farming up our fragments yet again, because we sold them all to pay for a build that we don't really want to play anymore, because honestly it is fun to play, but it's just busting up my screen, and I can't do it, not on a PS4. So For those that just wanted to watch that build guide and see where I'm at, this is the build. So we're just gonna, go through that a little bit. Audio might be a little lame, but thanks for rocking me thus far. Let's get into the details of it. Let me think. Did I not mention anything? What did I not go over? I mean, it's your typical RF. For if you're super new to this game and you're watching this video, go look up Pox, PHOX or something like that. He's on YouTube, Twitch, all that. He is the resident Path of Exile Righteous Fire build creator. You will at least get a good fundamental knowledge of how to run this build. Righteous Fire is a very interesting skill, and a lot of people use it in in-game, even if it's just to buff their other skills, because it is it's like another aura at the end of the day. So we turn it on, it engulfs us in flames, and we hate this map, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh. Watch my screen lag out. You'll know explosions popping off too when they do. We're going to run this harvest though. Sorry, I'm broke, so I need to run everything. So these guys are probably going to eat my lunch. We'll see how it goes. Perhaps. It's like, remain very still. For those who don't know, those devourers, if you keep range attacking them, they're gonna just keep dipping underground. Unless you have like a super crazy dot you could pop off on them, they're gonna just keep leaving and popping up. So if you're like a tanky boy like me, or a tankier boy, oh, alright, let me focus up. Anyway, you just don't move. You just stand your ground. Make sure you're not in their way, obviously. Oh. Thank you. What you got? You got some over there. We're also running a Vol Righteous Fire so that we can get the gauntlets will give us 20 seconds 20 seconds of onslaught. Here, I'll just show you real quick. 20 seconds of onslaught. Oh. Yeah, see, I'm not 100% tanky yet. We're still running a tabula rasa. I have no stats. Plus 2 to gems ain't shit. So don't do this at home, boys. I'll do the alpha. There's more monsters. Anyway, yes, you pop the Vol Righteous Fire and you get 20 seconds of onslaught because of the gloves. Whenever you use a Vol skill, you get 20 seconds of onslaught. It's pretty nice. This is a need red juice. This is a nice chunky plot here. Not too bad. Alright, sorry about that. It takes a little time, but they're so worth it. I use Harvest a lot. I mostly craft my own gear. I rarely trade. I sell, but I don't really trade, if that makes sense. I really need like targeting, then yes, I'll look for it. But for the most part, everything's very expensive. The rumors are true. I would have argued not so much last league, but this league, oh my god, what is these prices? I don't even know. You see those pops, like them big old woof, everything's deleted. That's the 500% popping off, the 500% life. Yeah, that one right there. That one right there. The more of the monsters, the better, really. Okay, now this is gonna be rough. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. These have been pretty beastie. Why can't I look at the damn thing? Whatever. I don't even know what it is. What the hell just happened? I don't know what's going on. So my method is run away real quick and then just kind of gung-ho, shield charge through, frost blink, and get stuck on a tree like an idiot. You know, and you know, try to not fucking die. Alright, that wasn't too bad. I didn't get to read it. That was pissed me off because, I don't know, my buttons weren't buttoning. It's hard out here for the console scrub. It's not just the title, it's the truth. Okay. Rog, you know what, buddy? I love you, Rog. I need a little bit of everything, boys. I am just so broke. Oh. Oh. And if anything, this is a good little build showcase. Just gonna walk through all my traps. You bastard. Nothing. Alright. Let's go find this damn arena so I can end this video already. I don't want to keep you guys. Maybe with some luck with this acceleration shrine. There we are. Let's go. Alright, now actually, most of the time I would actually take off my RF. Just so I can, because we don't really need the RF damage on bossing. We just want it for clearing. Well, we're going to keep it on. If I die, then we'll take it off and just do the traps. The traps are strong enough. You don't need to... There's a fly in my room. Fucking fly, get out of here. But yeah, the traps are really enough. You don't need to... Yeah, we'll be alright. Oh, wow. I did not... Yep, that was me going into the pools like an idiot. Well, with the traps, with the RF off, we'll have more regen. That's the whole point. So usually I'd go back to... Or, another trick you can do is get a flask that removes burning. So you could just, like, go to hideout, equip your remove burning, proc your flask, it'll take your RF off, and then you can go back in. So it's faster than zoning. But, so what we're going to do is we're going to zone now. And this is some sweaty, like, my build doesn't really work quite yet, tech. So we're turning off RF so we get more regen for the boss fight. But there's a lot of fire damage, right? And we're using a ruby, and so everything is basically working. It'll be more like, you'll see. It'll be more of like an ebb and flow. You don't really need the RF when you're bossing. Level 27 fire trap or whatever it is, 26 fire trap. That's plenty. That's plenty. Just don't get hit. Or don't brick your cloak flame robe. So, you know. Kind of having some fun with this video. I'm glad because it's been a real stressful last couple of weeks. But things are starting to look up. And I can't wait for this weekend. Alright, so RF is off. We're going to go back into this bad boy. Try not to lose any more of our XP because, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're only 90 anyway, so it is what it is. So he's going to do that. Zone him. Alright, he's going to do a slam. Oh, he's got like a couple of moves. He's got like a slam and then he like fans out the blades. If you look at his animation, he's just going to do this for a second. I'm gonna face tank him for a second, just to get that negative off. Oh. And he's gonna zone. Throw out a couple of traps. Oh wow. Alright, just let him tick a little bit. I was in the slam. I didn't see the slam when it popped up. But also, I want to preface by saying there's no shame in using your 6 portals. Like, if you know you got the fight in the bag, it's okay. This is incredibly sloppy, don't get me wrong, but it's more or less because I'm level 90 and I have no gear on, and the damage is there, I just am not there defensively, which will be solved with about 5 levels and getting my 6 link and other things, other variables, as you could imagine. So, just want to also remind anyone who's watching, we're on a tabula rasa still. P16s, Guardian bosses, you know what I mean? It's still challenging, you know what I mean? And we're on a controller, so I can't point and click. So, as long as I get it in 6, that's all that matters to me. And we got this in the bag. This boy's going down. He's dead. We got him about a quarter life. There might be one more phase, but this is probably going to be the last phase. And yes, this is the loading screen for PlayStation 4. Enjoy it. Let's make sure my auras are on. Alright. 6, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to dodge that big boy slam there. Don't you dare. Alright. What did I say? Well, we lost a good chunk of XP, but, you know, it's alright. We're trying to make a video. Alright, so, for the most part, that's it. We're going to leave the map at that. We did the harvest and the expedition. That's all we really expect into. And just to finalize everything out, I'll just do a brief overview of my Atlas skill trees so you know what we're doing. Basically, we're trying to farm the bosses right now. Oh gosh. So we're doing the typical Guardian and Slaver boss, and we're doing Maven. The main ticket here is the destructive play. They just recently did something with this. I didn't look too much into it, but they either fixed the cheese that we were doing, or now it's cheesier than ever. One of the two. I'm sure it's still worth it though, but the Maven spawns up to 3 bosses on a map, and farming so many of these Guardian maps. And then we're running the Guardian maps, and we're farming all these fragments, and we're gonna run our shit, and or sell the ones we don't need, and make profit, and it's all good. And we're also running harvest and expedition with it. Nothing too crazy, just standard stuff. So that's what we were running. As you can see, we still have to complete a few other maps that are uniques. Not really too concerned about it. I have enough points to get done what I want to get done. That's the main takeaway here. You know, play at your leisure. Want to do it. There's no right way to play a game, just as long as you're enjoying it, obviously. For those that have stuck around this long, who've checked out this build, thank you for seeing it. Dawnbreaker, this is pretty easy to get, but you know, I got lucky with this roll, I'll say that. But you know, nothing on this build is too out of reach, and this really isn't much of a build right now. It will be, but as of right now it won't. But it still functions, and it does what it needs to do, and that's the important part. And I have clear-cut goals of what I need to do next to improve my build, which is where everybody should be when they feel like they've reached a wall, they don't know what to do. They need to at least understand that they have clear-cut goals that they need to reach, and use the resources in the community as you see fit, because we're always out here. There's so much information. I can't believe people ask me to do console guides. Like, it's like, dude, I mean, it's the same game, you know. Watch someone else who's much better than I am at doing it. But, you know, I get that there's nuances to the way you use your buttons and controller layout and all that stuff, and which we're going to go over in depth this weekend. If you're watching this video late, I'm going to start doing this thing every weekend where we're going to do a beginner's guide, like leveling SSF as you would a league start, showing you the bare bones, how to get going. This is going to start this weekend, so I'm going to be live probably just on YouTube. I don't know how to get my Twitch going, and I don't have the ability to get Twitch videos onto YouTube. Don't have a computer, so we're going to probably just do it on YouTube and keep everything on YouTube just for, you know, curation purposes. And I don't really mind that much. So if you have made it this far and you want to check out what that's going to be like, it's going to be every weekend moving forward. Most weekends moving forward. So we'll do at least the series, get the build up to where we need to be, and then it'll be like the end of the show. You know what I mean? It'll basically be a character creation. But yes, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Check in this weekend with me when I go live, and we're going to make a build together, and I'm going to go through all the bare bones as best as I can, try to think of the game as a new player and not knowing anything about anything, which is hard to do, but I think I could kind of go into the empathy chair and do a good job, or I wouldn't be doing it at all, because if I don't do something half-assed, I don't do it at all. So I'll at least do a half-assed job. But thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your subscriptions and your likes and your comments and all that. Engage with me in the comments. I check them all the time. I'm there. So we're ending it on that one, and everyone have a good time out there raid class. Peace, peace.